Some people are really fucking stupid. Did you ever notice that? How many really stupid people you run into during the day? God damn, there's a lot of stupid bastards walking around. Carry a little pad and pencil with you. You wind up with 30 or 40 names by the end of the day.
Adjectives on the typewriter. He moves his words like a prize fighter. The frenzied pace of
Look at it this way. Think how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Outside the walls, out there you don't.
This guy is fucking stupid.
Tight job, say it out. Say it out.
Give a shit if I'm not supposed to say it. I'm gonna fucking say it.
Say it out, 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 say somebody.
Welcome to
You got to say it out.
He says, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Welcome to Useless Agent.
Okay, and one more sound effect. Alright. How's it going, my beautiful starflies? Yeah, you know what's really sad is I originally wanted to call you guys starflies because it was a cool word. And originally I wanted to call you guys like buzzards or fireflies, you know. But because of the great wrestler Bray Wyatt and the passing of Bray Wyatt, I think that whole thing of calling people fireflies should be retired. So that's why I call you guys starflies or chickadees or whatever. Who cares? Welcome to another episode. Get your bong out and let's go. So today I want to start with a message. I want to I know I've been doing the 9/11 week, and I'm going to do a separate episode about 9/11 today because we're not going to stop doing that. But today I got distracted, and not really distracted, but the day started out pretty average, and then I go and read this ridiculous thing that just really got into my craw. And the sad thing is that I'm friends with these guys and I love these guys and I care about these guys, so you know, it's nothing that like would end a friendship, at least not on my part. But even if my friends have not a different opinion than me or than me, I don't care. Everyone has different opinions on everything. That doesn't bother me. But it's when you go out and try to point your opinion as fact. And what tends to happen is regurgitation of all the bullshit that they hear on TV. So what really bothers me is when people that don't even have children talk about the dangers for children. Okay. If you know my background at all, I used to watch up to 4 kids at one time, all of them under the age of 4, and they were a blast. I have a lot of childlike energy, so I, started a daycare because I was the stay-at-home parent. And I thought it would be okay to, make some money while I'm at home. And since this is what I do and this is what I've become good at, then maybe this is what I should be doing right now. So I learned a lot about how other people raise their children, how they want their children raised, and how to provide that while still giving my kids their even flow and then give the other kid whatever their parent is used for them. So there were little things that I would allow, but for the most part, it was not a a buffet or anything like that. So it was a one size fits all house. You do have to get used to my rules, but I was never scaring the kids. They understood, and so we would watch all sorts of movies. And one time, my daughter was watching. She was watching Rocky Horror Picture Show because she loves the music in it. And at first I thought, maybe the clothing is a little too sexually suggestive, but right away I just thought it's not like my kid's going to be dressing up in fishnets. I'm the one that buys her clothes, so it's nothing to worry about. So she would sing, Meatloaf, just really random songs from that movie, and I loved it. Hearing a little kid saying "Whatever Happened to Saturday Night," this is awesome. And the other kids saw it, and I could tell that they were instantly uncomfortable. So immediately I went in the other room, turned on the TV, put on Paw Patrol, and let them enjoy what they watch, because there's no way I wanted those kids to go home to their mom and, even in the most basic way, end up saying, oh, a guy showed us a man dressed as a woman or something like that. I just didn't want to hear it until I knew how she is with that type of material. Now, again, there is no real sex scene in the movie. There is one scene where, she thinks she's going to get intimate with her husband, and it turns out to be a Frankfurter, a Tim Curry. But a lot of it happens under the covers with a silhouette. So my daughter didn't even know what they were doing. And so she never really asked. And so I just said, she is, I just told her, he's trying to pretend to be somebody else so he can get kisses from her. And so she goes, oh, that's not right. And again, my daughter was only about 4 years old, but I didn't want to say sex. So I said kisses. And right away she goes, ew, leave her alone. That's not your husband. She got a very good understanding of it. And so it shows that it really depends on the parent. So the situation of the drag show reads came up, and I was almost floored that, friends of mine were going full on Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene on this shit, saying that, my child shouldn't be indoctrinated. No one's being indoctrinated at those fucking meetings, okay? And then the topic of I don't want my kid around mentally ill people. Yeah, then don't go to church, okay? You're gonna find far more mentally ill people on the street, on the bus, or in church than you will ever see at a drag read. Now, when I personally experienced my first drag read, it was around 1994. And it was around 1994, 95. And we had, readers, these volunteers would come up and read books. And the one person that stood out to me was the gay guy and the drag queen. Because the drag queen had a man, she did the man characters with a man's voice. She did everything amazingly. And I'd never cared so much in my life about a book. So I got obsessed with the book of Little Red Chief. And Little Red Chief is just about a little redheaded kid that gets kidnapped, and he ends up being kind of like a Macaulay Culkin Home Alone thing. They don't know how to handle this kid. He's such a fucking brat. I think it was called Ransom of Red Chief. And it was awesome. And so seeing this coming from my friends obviously kind of hurt me, because it's like, dude, you guys are kind of hitting. I don't know. I took it personally, like they're hitting me. Like, what is so wrong with this? I've been to one. I've taken my kid one. We had a great time. There was nothing going on, and it just continues like this. And so when you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, force feeding you all of this horse shit, you end up changing the way you think. And so it really reminded me of a phenomenal comedian right now that is going around and he's trolling the actual city meetings and city halls and town hall meetings. And if you look at the people in the background, they understand his humor. They understand what he's saying. And I really wish these particular friends would watch this show, because definitely this is exactly what they're starting to sound like. And remember, this is a comedian that knows exactly what he's doing. Okay, so let's let him take it from here.
Forced indoctrination of our students by mandating that every child, says the Pledge of Allegiance every morning.
Regardless of how one feels about gender, it is a scientific fact that there are two human sexes, male or female. If the LGBT community has the right to display their flags in the public schools, then so do people who want to display straight flags, boy flags, girl flags, furry flags, and the multitude of other flags that would need to be displayed so all groups are represented and feel included.
I'm the regional director for the Anti-Defamation League's Philadelphia Regional Office. When Policy 321 was being considered, we cautioned that this overbroad policy could lead to censorship. One example of this occurred 2 weeks ago, before Holocaust Remembrance Day, when a librarian was told to take down a well-known quote from Elie Wiesel, a noted author, Nobel laureate, and Holocaust survivor.
And it's not just me. Many other students no longer feel safe in the schools thanks to the fact that you banned pride flags, despite every ounce of evidence proving that they do nothing to harm our students, but in fact can actually save a student's life. Just that little bit of representation can make a kid feel supported and can prevent them from mental stress and breakdowns. You banned them claiming that you wanted the school to be a neutral place, despite knowing full well that there is nothing political or non-neutral about showing support for a minority.
To the woman who spoke about reading and Black authors, I have 3 great books. The first one is Beaten Black and Blue by Brandon Tatum. Another one is Blackout by Candace Owens. And a third is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, a Navy SEAL, Black man.
Regarding the pornographic books in the school library, my first question is why? Why, isn't there a sign on the door of every adult bookstore that says no admittance under the age of 18?
I'm here today because I'm very concerned about the books that our children are seeing. There's this indoctrination. The other day I saw a children's book where 2 male penguins were holding hands. Can you believe that? They were just holding hands. It was crazy. There's a book called The Giving Tree, where this tree gives the child, whatever it wants and needs. Clear reference to communism. I'm worried about our democracy and the foundation of our democracy. Now, if you look in history, democracy, the concept of it was in ancient Greece. Okay, and now in ancient Greece, they created this concept of democracy. Did they have a pride flag? No, they didn't have a pride flag because men being with other men, I guess, was normalized, and they're everywhere. Okay, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? All right. Or you know what? Forget that point. We should also ban books about ancient Greece in this library as well. No more. I don't want to see another book on ancient Greece.
And and that's it. That's how he nails you. All right. And I noticed we had someone watching for a second, and then they ran away. Why did you run away? It's perfect. What he was saying is, he's completely being satirical, and the fact that if you look in the background, you can see the old man begin to just start laughing when he's talking about ancient Greece. Because yes, democracy did come from the ideas that they used in Greece. Now, what he's saying is that they didn't have pride flags. Well, then again, because being gay was not frowned upon back then. Wait, where am I going with this? By doing that, he is showing you how ridiculous you people sound. Because you have no point, you have no leverage. The one thing you have is this weird sense of morality where it seems to be okay for our kids to learn active shooter drills before they learn compassion for another human being. I think it's pretty goddamn pathetic. And I wouldn't want my kid like that, because I would worry that, he sounds like an idiot. And so, I love that comedian. I hope he never stops what he's doing, because he's doing a great job. And again, when you see To Kill a Mockingbird is now being changed to Mockingbird, the whole point of the book is to kill a mockingbird. What they're saying is this is what happens with the death and silence of innocence. So a mockingbird is there to provide the signal to say, the mockingbird is there to say what's going on. To kill a mockingbird means to never let that message out. And so it is a powerful title, because to kill a mockingbird is to kill the message and to kill peace. So to call it Mockingbird, I'm sorry, it's not a song sang by Harry and Lloyd in Dumb and Dumber, okay? That's not it. Otherwise, I'm going to naturally think, mock, yeah! I can't help it. And I think what's hilarious is that you even have your own Republicans now shooting on Marjorie Taylor Greene, showing that, I love what this guy says. He even points out that maybe they didn't teach her that much democracy in her CrossFit class. And I really love that, because let's remember, she not only cheated on her husband multiple times, but once with apparently a sex guru that was supposedly a guru of sex. I really don't know how else to explain it, because it's so goddamn ridiculous. And so I believe he was the shaman or something. No, the guru. That's right. So anytime you talk to or see Marjorie Taylor Greene, just ask her, hey, how's that guru doing? I love asking her that. She always blocks me. All right. So this is another situation where you have Burke, who's a complete right wing, just shitting on Marjorie Taylor Greene, because it shows that even the Republicans are just goddamn sick of this. And I really don't blame them. They should be. So, all right, let's let them.
Response, here's the rest.
My idea of what this country should be like is based on the Constitution. And she sees the world differently. She's criticized me for, voting to certify the election in 2020. The Constitution says Congress shall count the votes. It doesn't say Congress may overturn an election result. It doesn't say Congress can do whatever the heck it wants with this election. Shall count the vote. That's what the Constitution says. In her CrossFit class, maybe they didn't cover that. And it also, the Constitution also says that, the impeachment of a president shall be based on treason, high crimes, misdemeanors. It doesn't say it's a political exercise,
right?
And we hope that it kind of does the right thing. And so I get tired of people. One of the beauties of Congress is you bring 435 people together from different backgrounds, and you try to reach a consensus on issues. When you've got people who care more about their social media accounts than they do about the Constitution, we have a real problem in Congress.
Okay, so I'm sorry if that was hard to hear. The audio seemed a little off, but we understand what he's saying. He's saying that you have people that are more interested in becoming famous than becoming legislators and becoming actual leaders of the free world. And the free world. I'm sorry, I can't even say that with a straight face anymore. So when you have a total right-wing guy like that who is, by all means, not one of us, not a liberal, not a democratic socialist, he is no Bernie Sanders. But even he recognizes the idiocies and overall hypocrisy within the right and the messages that get misconstrued by the public. And this is why I made this episode. And again, these are two friends of mine that said this, and I love them. Like, I check on them. I want to know they're okay. I know their mother, and I really do care about these people. But what I don't care about or what I don't care for is what they're saying. And again, if you don't have young children, you will definitely not fit into the argument, or at least not have a full perspective on the argument. So for me, I had taken my kid to all sorts of events because, my daughter and my son, I would take to everything because my father didn't do shit with me. Never. I love my father. God rest in peace. I love you, Dad, but you kind of sucked when it came down to being my dad. You were a great father, not much of a great dad, but until later. So I wanted to break that cycle, and I wanted my kid to remember me the most. I remember my mom taking me everywhere, but I don't remember much about my dad. And so that's why I grew up around friends that were also orphans or bastards, or some of them didn't know their dad at all, and some of them, my best friend, the guy I call my brother, the one tattooed on my arm, I've known him my whole life, and I've met his father once. And I know he's only met him about 4 times. So the idea of being fatherless, it definitely changes your outlook on things. And where I came from was a whole neighborhood without fathers. It was a whole fucking area without fathers. And I am writing a book that's called False Flags of False Fathers. And it's gonna talk about that. The amount of the lack of direction that you grow up with when you don't have anybody on your side like that, and the fact that you look for any kind of male figure to look up to. So I looked up to comedians and wrestlers. I wanted to be funny but strong, compassionate but don't take shit from nobody. And I think that's probably why I fell in love with the people that I did. Half of me really loved The Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, and then the other half of me really loved like White Zombie and Pantera, and then the other part of me liked, Pee Wee Herman. So, it's just, they were all different kinds of, not father figures, but just male counterparts that I could kind of look up to. And so in ending the episode today, and again, I'll come back to do the 9/11 episode today, but I really wanted to thank you guys, especially all my friends in the Black community, Hispanic community. You guys are fucking saving my show, and you guys are really doing so much to save my Mexiban page on TikTok, which is getting constantly reported and all this shit. And one of the biggest ones that got pulled off was the Bloody Chicago video, where I point out what the guy's doing and how he's lying to you. They pulled that off because they said I was promoting hate speech. Right, because I'm the one complaining about black mayors in Chicago. So they pulled that video off for the Troy Bell incident as well. Now, Troy Bell, that was the incident in Scottsdale, Arizona, where the man had tried to swipe a little tray of like jewelry. Now, as he took off with it, the neighborhood united in tackling the guy. And she says it as if there was some sort of rainbow coalition or something, instead of 4 white dudes jumping on one black guy for jewelry that is already insured and diamonds that are probably fake. And the guy stealing it is a part of a culture and race that is the #1 most exploited, disenfranchised, and ripped off when it comes to fucking jewelry. There's entire guys that are going out to the hip-hop communities, and any racist white guy will be like, well, that's the black guy's dumbass fault for not checking it. Dude, you're sitting there, you're listening to a guy who's telling you he's an expert. He's got his stupid little, the little glass, and he's looking at the diamond, telling you what's so special about it. Yeah, you're going to take his word for it because you think he's a professional. And, anyone would fall for that, especially somebody being rich for the first time and not knowing how to use money. And this is why we need serious economic classes in schools. Home economics, I always thought was going to be teaching us how to balance a budget, how to pay your bills on time, how to keep a credit card, how to get your credit up, how to maintain your credit score. These are home economics, okay? Not how to fucking bake bread. And so I thank you guys so much for the Mexiban page, because let me go ahead and show you what you guys did. You brought it back from the fucking dead, and I really appreciate that. So I'm just going to show the clip to let you guys know this is what was pulled off. And again, thank you guys so much.
To stop a suspected shoplifter in Scottsdale.
The most beautiful story here is that everybody got united.
Everybody got united. I see 3 or 4 white dudes on one black guy who went in to shoplift a tray of jewelry. Now, let's remember, Africa is the #1 continent that the diamond trade comes from, enslaves, forces people to work those mines until they die to help your cute little bracelets. And there's actually what's called a diamond reserve. And so we have plenty. And Russia actually has the most right underneath the Congo. And so, yeah. The first thing about war is knowing your enemy. And it's not the broke black guy trying to steal some bracelets. The more you know, people. Just saying. So that's what I put out, and that's what got taken down. And all you have to do is watch the movie Blood Diamond, and you get a decent idea of what the average person goes through in that type of area. And also, this had occurred, which was hilarious because this had occurred right after I just made friends with a guy from the Sudan. And when I met him, I noticed his accent, so I said, Sierra Leone or Sudan? And right away he goes, oh, Sudan, you know me. And I said, well, I know that kind of French accent because of the French colonialism before that. And so he and I ended up striking up a conversation. We probably talked for about a good 25 minutes. And the guy before that, on the bus, I simply spoke about Iraq having no weapons of mass destruction, that we knew that, and then we attacked them anyway. And then, basically, we're just trying to find a way to match Osama and Hussein. That's really it. That was the whole fucking point. So it is. It's just such a giant level of fuckery that you gotta maintain over. But I'm gonna go over time here because I still really want to show you one more video that I really wish my friends would watch, because this is the God honest best way to put life in the right terms. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up, and then we're going to end the show with that. So just want to be able to say love you guys. Stay free. Stay yourselves. Stay informed. And I will see you on the other side. Most of all, stay cheesy, my friends.
There is a point. Is there a point to all this? Let's find a point. Is there a point to my act? I would say there is. I have to. The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride, and we kill those people. Shut him up. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family. This has to be real. It's just a ride. But we always kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok? But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride. And we can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now between fear and love. The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your door, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world right now to a better ride. Take all that money we spend on weapons and defense each year and instead spend it feeding, clothing, and educating the poor of the world, which it would many times over, not one human being excluded, and we can explore space together, both inner and outer, forever in peace.